Greetings, fellow pilgrims and stalwarts. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Frostwardens, Episode 6, Influx of Refugees. It's a little messy out. Just a wee bit. So the close zone, I'm no longer going to include here. I'm going to copy the zone and call this Axios. And Axios' zone is going to be different, where it will include the corpse stockpile. And that way, no one but Axios attempts to stockpile corpses, so that I can prevent mood loss as a result of all the corpses. Nope, he got to witness one of them die. And I'm going to get rid of the southern zone entirely. Actually, no, I won't. These 3 can go there pretty easily. Alright, Nabla, let's transition your research to biofuel. Or, maybe actually psychoid growing. It's not unreasonable to start considering growing some drugs if we have a pretty steady source of food. We're up to 45 meals, which is pretty solid. And Tal's cache of treasure. So I can't go out there with the gear that I currently have. So all of these like, hey, go places quests aren't even remotely reasonable to travel to. So I'm just deleting them so they're off the list. I think we've gotten to a point where, for the non-doctors, I'm going to have them carry industrial meds, so that I can choose more quickly the med quality that we, on average, carry with us. Why are you... Oh, yeah, okay. Well, we're almost all walled up. When's the next raid? I hope we get a bit of a breather. I mean, that was kind of a lot of raids. Back to back to back. I might want to add the food shelf to warm so they can grab food. Yeah. That's not a bad idea. I could also consider knocking out a hole here and putting a shelf there, so that there's a shelf like kind of behind the walls, but higher prioritized than this food shelf. Because destroying this segment of the wall here wouldn't actually damage the insulation for this room, but be a good place for like food to be prioritized, because it's never going to be warm enough for that food to decay. So that's another idea. Looking pretty good. All right, another vote. This one pretty straightforward. Should we open our colony up for refugees? Axios mentions to the others that we are finally at a point where we have some food security. The food security can either be used to build up a surplus and start providing drugs for our colony to enjoy, or alternatively, to build up a supply for a 5th member to be potentially recruited. Question: should we open our colony up for refugees? Yay or nay? So you guys can decide this. Also for reference, we are in the middle of the winter, and it is currently just about record-breaking negatives. We have set a record. Congratulations, everybody. We've done it. It is colder than it has ever been on Earth. Good Lord. Okay. The yays have it. We are going to open up the colony for refugees. So thank you for voting. And I just have to do a little, some stuff in the back to make that happen. For whatever it's worth, one thing I will mention is that rejecting wanderers does not negatively impact our people. That due to desperate times, it calls for desperate measures, and it is well understood that rejecting refugees, although not necessarily charitable, is a perfectly reasonable thing to do. So I just wanted to make that clear that we won't be heavily penalized as a result. Oh, and immediately, a tournament fighter named Sail has arrived and wants to join your colony. He's willing to contribute, but will not leave voluntarily. Tournament fighter, huh? So in this case, because we can banish without consequence, how should we handle the refugee? And this isn't going to trigger a voting council. Accept them unconditionally. Accept them if there's merit. Reject them. So accepting them unconditionally means hitting accept and not potentially banishing them. Accepting them if there's merit is accepting them, judging them, whether they should stay or go, and rejecting them outright is, of course, always an option as well. It's worth noting that these options, for now, aren't necessarily ideologically bound. But it's also I'm also willing to say it will eventually be. In terms of ideologies, the stalwarts believe in an egalitarian future, not one based on merit, whereas the pilgrims believe in more of a meritocracy. So, for now, this is not a consequential in terms of who's going to be happy as a result of this poll, but what I will say is it eventually will be. So it looks like we are accepting if there's merit. So Sail. He's a nimble, tortured artist who's got very high melee and a passion for both melee and art. Basically, he wants to stab stuff, whether it's stone or people. Got it. And He has got no health conditions. He's 50 years old. And he is a stalwart. So question, should we accept sale? He doesn't do any skilled labor. So in terms of work, only art, research, all other skilled labor forbidden. So you can haul, clean, research, art, or defend the colony with brawn. And I'll leave this up for just another minute. If you're wondering, I am not planning on stripping the... It's not necessarily written into the rules, but I'm not stripping any refugees of their goods. We're just sending them away if we reject them. And it appears as if we reject sale. So as you can see, colonists managed to death 0. Nobody gets negative thoughts as a result. As I told you, it is the norm in the world that these 4 live in. Because we have low population, as far as the storyteller is concerned, we are going to get a lot of offers. And that's a bit by design. I did that on purpose because in the world that we live in, everyone would like 3 square meals and a hot bed, right? So, of course, people are going to ask incessantly, can I join? Can I join? Can I join? And like, that's by design. All right, Axios, you... Okay, cool. Let's have you grab 1, 2, 3, burn them. And then grab the meds. Finally getting some of the repairs that we need done. And Zeusin, while you're warming up, you can cook. Well, I am surprised that, well, maybe not surprised, but I was not necessarily expecting you guys to vote to open up our walls for the first time it was offered, but hey. Oh, Axios, yeah, you clear your prioritized work. You're good, dude. Enjoy your wedding. I'm not going to keep you from your own wedding. So today we gather to celebrate the betrothal of Axios and Zeusin. And I guess the tradition of throwing rice is basically the only thing this wedding can offer. But yeah, alright. So be it. And they're wed. And up here, you can see the little orange double rings indicating that. Wow. They, everyone gets along. I know I haven't really shown the relationships here, but, there is no rivalries yet. Big yet. There's no rivalries yet. Everyone is, friends with everyone else. We are just a few wall segments away from walling up the base. Axios, you're going to pull a little night duty here. Just because so many idiots decide to die on our doorstep. But I think your mood is about as positive as mood can be. Yeah. So I'm not too worried about pushing you too far. I think you'll be fine. I wonder if we're going to break negative temperatures tonight. Negative 85, I think, is as cold as it's going to get. Now, this is, of course, without cold snaps, volcanic winters, or anything like that. If we get one of those in the winter, woo! Sound the alarms. This is pretty, like, alarming level cold, though. Another thing that might not be unreasonable, and this will be especially true if we get an inspiration, is to attempt to make high-quality stonework beds that are more rest-effective than the cloth bedrolls that we have, because cloth bedrolls aren't particularly rest-effective. I would consider making it out of metal or wood, but like I just don't have the metal or wood to dedicate towards that. So I think that would be a poor misappropriation of our supplies. All right, we've got double walls. I think what I want to do is... Oh, Wanderer join. How should we handle the refugee? Pulls up again. Give you a minute. Helga is a recruiter, so she probably has high social. And merit-based admissions seems to be the popular option. I think that I don't need to leave the poll up very much longer. You guys were overwhelmingly about merit. So, here it is. Here's Helga. She is 33 years old, a pyromaniac. So she's a firebrand, right? She's a recruiter who likes fire. A firebrand. Melee, mining, animals, crafting, social. She is also a stalwart. We've got 2 stalwarts back to back. Do we allow Helga to stay? And I'll take a look at her health conditions in just a moment. So no health problems. She is got ratty apparel, though. She's not very well insulated, so if she does stay, we're going to need to... And this is probably a good idea to do now. One of the issues that I've seen is a lot of the refugees that have asked to join don't have appropriate clothing that would offer them insulation, which means they would need to be sort of on house arrest. Because they wouldn't be warm enough to be outside. So for reference, our colonists have an insulation of about 37, 38 or so. She has an insulation of 31. It's not a big difference, but she would freeze a lot faster. And it's ratty, too. So it's clothing that is going to need to be replaced sooner than later. Oh boy, it is nearly tied. I'm going to leave this up for another minute. So Helga Rackle, the pyromaniac. It's also worth mentioning that sometimes there will be a mismatch, and this is thumb on the scale time. Sometimes there will be a mismatch between their skills and their ideology. And this might be one of those times, because mining is not a stalwart's strength. That is a pilgrim's strength. So one of the only things that she can do to contribute to our city on a regular basis would be mining, because there's not a lot of crafting, animals, melee, or social to be done on a daily basis, but there is mining, or there will be at least, and stalwarts aren't good at mining. They're in fact kind of bad at mining. That's a pilgrim thing. So in the case of Helga, because of that ideology mismatch, you know, she is potentially less able to contribute. And it does look like the no's barely edged out the yays, the nays, so that is another one who is not staying. There will be a lot of options, though. I'm not telling you to cherry pick the best of the best. If you want to settle me with someone that is lackluster and less than average, that's fine. I put thumb on the scales, but I don't actually vote, so I'm not the one who makes these decisions. We do have a double-walled exterior now, so we're going to have to vote for a next project. What to build next? We could build security traps, which would be deadfall traps made of stone, used in the case that we're likely to get overrun, so security traps. We could build stalwart council hall, pilgrim union hall, and we could also try to build insulated defenses. So insulated defenses would be having these areas have doors so that they could be inside, and put heaters on switches to be turned on so that we don't necessarily become hypothermic during the the defense of our colony. Oh, Zeuson's grabbing the tea. And we have 5 more corpses that need to be dealt with. These don't need to be hauled. So, Axios, try to do that now. Don't consume them. Unrestricted. Inspired creativity, Axios. That's kind of unfortunate, because he is not a constructor. And he's not a crafter, and he's barely an artist. So, that's, I think, an inspiration that is going to go to waste. Oh my god. Aim better, dude. He's getting hypothermic and his aiming is going to hell. Oh, that didn't work. I thought we were going to put him up there. Okay, all the corpses. Okay, I guess we're not growing cotton. Actually, I was just like, you know what? Screw it. It's not my problem. Sorry, dude. You're gonna get a little overtime. I don't want this spreading to the rice. Honestly, if blight was gonna happen, we lucked out. The cotton wasn't really well grown. Well, to be fair, there wasn't a lot of like fully grown rice either. So I don't think it would have been terrible either way. And it seems to me like insulated defenses is the winning option. Add insulation to defenses. Now, my only hesitation there is making sure that that when we do that, we're not using up precious steel, because we do have finite steel, so that is, I guess, my worry. But for, and by the way, cheers. Oh, actually, that's empty. But we do have a lot of limestone. So one way to do that is just to add doors in these spots. And a door down here. And that would technically be insulated. You know, that would make this a room, and we could just drop a heater in there and use this as our main pillbox. And the same could be done over here. It's ugly, but it works. Alternatively, we could put the doors on the outside, but we don't have... because they're stone, there's not an easy way to, like, swim them open or closed. They are going to be slow to close, yes. I accept that as, like, just the nature of the defenses. They're not quick, but the idea is that we pump in... And it would only really, because of how small these areas are, it would only really take one heater each to keep that room from causing nightmarish levels of hypothermia and frostbite. It's not too inefficient. Zandy. Another pull. So Zandy is a mercenary. They're going to have good combat skills. They may, as a result, refuse to do something like dumb labor or skilled labor. So we don't exactly know until he shows up. Give you guys a minute to contemplate that, but it looks like it's going to be a bit of a merit-based admission process, just like before. Also, if we're double insulating here, what I can do is I can add layered insulation that doesn't block line of sight to these areas so that they're easier to keep warm. Like that. There might need to be some revisions to this design in the long run, but for now, that's the design we're settling with. Okay, merit-based. So here we go. Give us a little pause. Zandy, you don't even have a coat on. Oh boy, you're gonna freeze so fast. Misogynist, careful shooter, chemical fascination, melee, construction, crafting, refusing to do plants, art, with a bite scar to his leg. Does Zandy stay, yay or nay? So he's again another Zalwart. Zandarian Stalzer. Being a stalwart, construction technically is a stalwart thing to do. Because if we take a look at the Pilgrim's ideology, they have negative construction, research, and medical tend. The industrialism of the Pilgrims are eventually going to be benefit woodcutting, farming, and mining. You know, the sort of dumber of the dumb labors. The hard work labor. He is a misogynist, and he will hate his two ideology mates. It's true. And it looks like you guys say nay as well. Sorry, Zandy. Be very hard to keep you warm. Did we get the cotton? Yeah, we're getting the cotton back in. So I'm growing cotton ahead of time, knowing that like the people that show up basically have no insulation, which is going to be a problem. We haven't buried the only bodies on the map tile, but the other ones are like far enough away that I don't think we're going to happen upon them visually. Oh, wow. That did not happen. Didn't take a while. Kantu. And what I might do is I might open the doors to wanderers sort of seasonally and then like close them so that we're not constantly dealing with requests. They're a drifter. And without waiting too long, I think it's going to be merit-based. So let's take a look at him. He is a pilgrim. Kind, jealous. He can shoot, melee, construct, and cook. Kind and jealous is kind of funny. No health conditions. And has relatively decently insulating gear. So he's not an immediate liability. Wow, very pretty face. Do we keep Kantu? What do you guys think? Takumi Kantu. Or Takumi. So they certainly can fight. Their cooking skills need a little bit of improvement. And it seems like for the first time, the yays might win. We do have these bedrolls. I haven't forgotten. I know that there's a possibility, of course, of replacing our cloth bedrolls with stone ones. If we need to break the bedrolls down for material. So in this instance, I think it's safe to say we're keeping Kantu, which means, as a consequence, this is the first raffle of the stream. So, raffle timer is up. There it is. And one of you lucky subscribers is eligible, if you're active in the chat, to become Kantu. Kantu, let's go ahead and put you on warm. I don't even want you taking off clothing or anything. Just like run to warm. Because it is freezing out there. You're a pilgrim, so I'm going to give you the same schedule as the pilgrims. No special treatment here. And you better move. The pilgrim rituals are now activated because we have 3 pilgrims. And I think one of the weird consequences of this is I can't do pilgrim role changes because the ideology spot is for stalwarts. So in order to assign a pilgrim foreman, which is the position of a moral guide, I would need the medium altar built. So it's just a weirdness with the way the ideology system works for a multi-ideologian colony. I could do it in dev mode, but I don't want to do that. I think that's because, for whatever reason, even though it was even, we were technically a stalwart colony, just because it assigns one at random if you don't have a population majority. And as a result, the dominant ideology being stalwart meant that our ritual spots were like stalwart spots. The game picked favorites, even though I don't, I guess is the way to put it. Okay, he's only shivering. He's going to make it inside without freezing. It's cold out, but he did come with some warm stuff. So, tribal wear, parka, toque. Pretty effective way to stay warm. I like how you're picking up a simple meal. So I'm going to allow... I'm going to drop the fine meals. And then... add it. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to do something entirely different. One moment. He's a pilgrim after all. He is sharing his pilgrim meals with his pilgrim brothers. So Kantu, what are you good at? And the gender gap between the two is ever increasing now. It is not. It wasn't like the men versus women, but it's just by chance becoming that. Alright, how cold are you? You're only shivering, so you are free to wander. So for now, the pilgrims are going to have fine meals, while the stalwarts don't. And I am getting some no foreman penalties, but that's not to say that I'm going to immediately remedy it. That's up to voting. So the pilgrims are upset that they don't have a pilgrim union hall, but whether I get a union hall or not will be up to you guys. Brutally, because of course I know that there are stalwarts that can vote against the pilgrims getting union halls, absolutely by design. Congratulations, Paragodog. You've won the raffle. The channel for redemption to be able to name a character is going to get turned on. Just a moment. Oh no, it's up already, I think. So, if you want to change your name, just use the channel point redemption. Now, for this to work, what I want is individual power switches just outside the doors that affect the individual rooms. So there's a cable here which will feed a heater, and a power switch to cable here, which will feed a heater. And I'll be able to trigger it on and off to be able to turn off heaters remotely to heat the inside of these areas or not. Oh, don't botch it, dude. Okay, you know what? You are temporarily taken off of construction duty, because I can't waste steel, and you be wasting. I'm also going to choose to flick off the, I'm going to call it the Eternal Light, in lieu of filling up our batteries a little bit more, because we have been low on power for a bit. And then once all of the pilgrims eat the fine meal, I'll switch them back to normal meals. What other expressions do you have? Jealous or kind? You're gonna look a little jealous. I mean, you're in a terrible mood right now, so I figure that probably works. Oh my god, it's so cold. In a cruel twist of irony, it's also, like, kind of cold IRL for me in my room right now. So, I'm feeling it too, dudes. Psycho Brewing is done. And I think with that research project wrapped up, this is where the stream is going to end. Finally getting our 5th member, flipping the balance of stalwarts to pilgrims, and getting about halfway done with the insulation added to our defenses. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Frostwardens, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 19th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow survivors.